Because it's not.
Wave if you can hear us. If you're on Zoom and you can hear us, why don't you give a wave? Okay, great.
Okay, they can hear us, but they cannot see us yet. There we go.
Oh.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So we're going to teach a little song to start. And this song is called, appropriately, Todah, which means thank you in Hebrew. And the lyrics are, this is the chorus. Thank you for all that you've created. Obviously, the you is God. Thank you for what you've given me, for my eyesight, a friend or two, for what I have in the world, for the song which flows and a forgiving heart. Because of all this, I exist. And the chorus again. Thank you for a child's laughter and the blue sky, for the earth and a warm home, a corner to sit in, a loving companion. Because of all this, I exist. For a day of happiness, innocence, and honesty, and for the sad day which passed and disappeared, 2,000 cheers and hands clapping. Because of this, I exist. So the chorus goes like this. You want to give me a little... Todah al kol ma shebarata, Todah al ma sheli natata, al orei naim chavero shnayim, al ma sheyesh li ba'olam. Al shir koleach v'lev soleach shebizachutam ani kayam. Chorus. Todah al kol ma shebarata, Todah al ma sheli natata, al tzachok shel yeled Ushmei hatchelet al adama uvayit cham pina lashevet isha ohevet shebizchutam ani kayam. Todah al kol ma shebarata, Todah al ma sheli natata, al yom shel osher timimut v'yosher, al yom atzuv shenelam, tishuot alpayim v'chapayim shebizchutam ani kayam. Last time chorus. Todah al kol ma shebarata, Todah al ma sheli natata. Yadadai, 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 Miriam, will you pass this? Here. Thank you so much. And this goes to the woman back. Thank you. Thank you very much, Andrew. He learned that in about 17 seconds, so I'm really impressed with him. it's we're going to light our candles now, and it's always amazing to celebrate a simcha, and a simcha with generations. So we thought we'd invite Fran and her granddaughters up to light the Shabbos candles in honor of your upcoming special event, which we're not saying anything about right now, but you will all hear about it later. Amen. Good Shabbos. I'm so happy that you're here together. And our service, our Kabbalat Shabbat service, begins on page 130 with Lechuna Ranana. We continue on page, Mizmor LeDavid, on page 136. Oh, Zamru on page 134. Sorry, thank you.
Zamru l'Adonai bechinor v'kol zimra b'chatzotzrot v'kol shofar hariyu lifnei hamelech Adonai yiram hayam olo tevel v'yoshvei ba hayrei neharot imcha
136, a psalm for Shabbat. Oh, yes, no, yes, wrong.
מזמור לדוד, אבו לאדוני בני אלים, אבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, אבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, ישחררו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, כל אדוני על המים, אל הכבוד הרים, אדוני, אדוני, המים רבים, כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בהדר, כל אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון, וירקידם כמו עגל לבנון וסיריון, כמו בן רעמים, כל אדוני חוצב להבות אש, כל אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר קודש, כל אדוני יכול לילדות, ויחשוף יערות, ובהיכלו כולו אומר כבוד, אומר כבוד, אומר כבוד, כולו אומר כבוד. אדוני למה לא ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום.
Page 138, Lecha Dodi.
לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם לתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונכה, כי מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת
שוכחי ומטמי, בך יחסו עניי עמי, ונבנתה יראתי לה.
לכדותי לקראת
Please rise.
פני שבת נקבלה. לכדותי לקראת גאלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לכדותי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לכדותי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
You may be seated. We continue with, this is a psalm for Shabbat, Psalm 92, on page 140.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד
בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור.
צדיק
כתמר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד ינובות בשיבה, דשנים ורעמים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני, צורי ולא עוולת בו. Chatzi Kaddish on page 144. Is it your me? Yitgadal ve'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Bi'alma divra kirutei ve'amlich malchutei, B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'gala u'v'zman kariv v'maru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach, le'alam ula'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekudesha berichu li'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran bi'alma v'meru. Amen. I invite you to rise for the Baruch Hu on page 146.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך,
Baruch I
You may
invite
be
you.
seated.
We're going to do a reading now? Is that right?
It's
Okay.
Please join me on page 148 in English. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsebaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim.
Please join Gabrielle and myself on page 150. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochvenu, u'v'kumenu nahasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki heim chayenu, v'yorech yameinu, uvahem nege yomam v'layla, nege yomam v'layla, v'yahavatecha al tasir mimenu li'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Ohev Amo Yisrael. I want to invite everybody to close their eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Just going to have a few moments of silence before we share the Shema together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. We continue with the Ahavta on page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
V'yemunah kol zot v'kayam aleinu. We're on 156. Ki Adonai Eloheinu. V'yem tov anach Yisrael amo. Hapodenu miyam melachim alkeinu ago aleinu. Mikaf kol haritzim. Ha'oseg gedolot. Ad ein cheker, v'niflaot ad ein mispar, asam nafshenu b'chayim, v'lo natan lamot ragleinu, asel lanu nisim b'faro. You led your people Israel out from their midst to freedom for all time. When your children witnessed your dominance, they praised your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously. We just lift our voices joyously together on 158.
מי כמוך בעלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף פלא, נורא תהילות אוסף פלא, הלילה עם מלכותך, רעבנך, בוקע ים לפני משה מרים. זה אלי אנו ואמרו, אוי זה אלינו ואמרו, מי כמוך בעלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף פלא, נורא תהילות אוסף פלא, הלילה עם מלכותך, רעבנך, בוקע ים לפני משה מרים. זה אלי אנו ואמרו, אוי זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Before we do Hashkivenu, I just realized that Mike Bell is with us tonight, and he's actually just finishing his week of Shiva now, if I'm not mistaken, correct? And even though we don't sit Shiva on Shabbat, it is the custom after Lechadodi, and it wasn't in the book, so I wasn't thinking of it, but to share traditional words of comfort with a mourner after Lechadodi during their week of Shiva. So I want to invite all of you to repeat after me, and we extend this to you and your family, Mike, to honor your mother's memory. Hamakom
המקום
Yinachem
ינחם
Etchem
אתכם
Betoch
בתוך
Sha'ar
שער
Avele
אבלי
Sion
ציון
V'Yerushalayim.
ירושלים.
May God comfort you and your family together with all those who mourn within the gates of Zion and Jerusalem, and may you find comfort in your community. We continue now with the Hashkivenu on page 160.
ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ברוך אתה
52.
לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, את הארץ. וביום השביעי, וביום השביעי, שבת וינפש.
I invite you to rise as we prepare to say the Amidah privately. And we are on page 164. We'll begin with Adonai Sifatai Tiftach.
Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid, Ufi Yagid, Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, let my mouth We continue our service on page 180. We are on the bottom. Yihularatzon imrefi v'higyoni bi lefanecha Adonai tzuri v'goali. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu vel kol Yisrael vel kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen.
We're going to continue. Do we continue with the Mishabera?
Yes.
Okay. We are on page 371. I don't think we have a Mishaberach list today because the office was closed. So what I want to do is we're going to do a prayer for healing. And I want to invite anybody who is praying for somebody or somebody's in their life to please rise. And we'll say their names. And am I leading this or are you leading this? Okay, so let's say the names. And also, people who are joining us online on Zoom, please type the names in the chat. And our lovely AV team will make sure that they get mentioned. And then we'll bring everybody into our space for healing. And before we go, I just want to acknowledge all of the victims of all the shootings that have taken place just in the last week. I mean, it's just such a regular occurrence. I think, there's more heartache than senseless heartache than any of us can imagine. And we just need to share our love with all those families and people who are just asking the question, why? Mike, you want to share a name of who you're thinking of? Thank you. Thank you. I'm praying for, do we have anybody online? No? Okay. So you may be seated and we're on page 371.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
Refuah Shlema. On the back of the Todah sheets that I gave you is two readings. One reading says Thanksgiving, and one says For Zion's Sake. So I wanted to, I have a few more copies here, and I wanted to make sure you all had one. If you give, Penelope. Welcome my friend Penelope to services tonight. Thank you for being here. Oh, yes. Oh, I think that might have been my last. Hang on. Okay. All right. So what I love about this reading in the back of the old Sim Shalom is that this was a composite of different verses, mostly from Psalms or Proverbs or whatever, that sort of highlight the Jewish nature of Thanksgiving. So I thought we could read it responsively and then sort of open a conversation about our feelings about Judaism and Thanksgiving, and then I have some beautiful readings to share with you. We'll conclude. Worship the Lord in gladness. Come before God with joy. And you say, the Lord, creator of heavens and the earth, provides food for the hungry with mercy. God brings justice to the oppressed.
Praise the Creator who works great wonders, who ennobles us from birth, who treats us with compassion.
God covers the sky with clouds, sending rain, bringing forth bread from the earth to sustain us, providing wine to gladden the human heart.
God has brought peace to our borders and has satisfied us with choice wheat.
God has blessed us with liberty, with noble dreams, and with the pursuit of happiness.
Give thanks to Adonai, for God is good. God's love endures forever.
God crowns the year with God's goodness, and the fields yield a rich harvest.
The hills are covered with happiness, and the meadows are clothed with sheep, the valleys adorned with corn.
How shall we thank him for our blessings?
Let us share our bread with the hungry. Let us not turn away from the needy.
Clothe the naked and shelter the homeless. Help those who have no help.
Let us not take our blessings for granted. Let us share them with others with thanks.
Sing a new song for the Lord. Where the faithful gather, let God be praised.
God's love endures forever. Let us share in that love with our life.
Amen, and let it be so. So there's just so much written about Thanksgiving in Judaism because I mean, you could hear this a gazillion times, but sort of the whole premise of Judaism is rooted on gratitude, finding gratitude even in the darkest moments, looking for solace and comfort, being able to turn to God, and cry out. For that, we even have the opportunity to be grateful. So before we read what somebody else, sort of articulated, I'd love to know your thoughts about being a Jew. I mean, yes, we're all Americans, 100%. Being Jewish and Thanksgiving, what does that mean to you? We need a microphone. Thank you. Thank you, Fran. Go. Okay, hang on, Fran. I'm going to give you my thing. There you go.
Just holding. Okay. I am a transplant here, but I'm also a U.S. citizen, so I'm both Canadian and American. Growing up, we never celebrated it in Canada. Jewish people just didn't celebrate Thanksgiving. I never understood why. Seemed to be more of a French or very Christian holiday. And when I became involved with Steve and started to come to the U.S., it was the biggest deal. I mean, I thought that was the greatest thing on earth, I have to say. Families came together from all over and just sat together and celebrated Thanksgiving. And I think that's just a fabulous thing, and it doesn't matter what your religion is, because Jews celebrated here, and it was something I missed growing up.
So it's so interesting. Thank you for sharing that. I'll tell you that as a clergy person, it is probably the most important holiday of the year because it's the only one that we could spend with our families, right? I mean, I could never be with my family on Yontif or on Shabbos because I was always working, but I could definitely, and the question in a two clergy shul, who gets to go home for Thanksgiving, that was always a big conversation. But it's true. In that regard, it's wonderful. Other thoughts?
Being the child of Holocaust survivors, when my parents came to this country in 1949, becoming American was a huge deal to them. And they did everything in their power to be American, from not speaking German at home, unless they didn't want us to know what they were talking about, to buying American products, being American. And Thanksgiving was a big holiday because the family sat at the table together. It was as big as any other Jewish holiday, if not bigger. And menu was always the same. It always is. But every year it felt like the best food we had ever eaten. And we yesterday went around the table and each person had an opportunity to say something they were thankful for, from the youngest to the oldest. And was it you, Joan, who had the pumpkin? I just love, I saw this, that Joan had a pumpkin where gratitude, a gratitude pumpkin. I just love that idea of writing gratitude statements on a pumpkin and building towards the holiday. It's just beautiful.
Will you share where you got that idea? That's beautiful. Okay. All right. Well, it's and so just how did it enhance your holiday?
Well, I enjoy doing it. I enjoy, I'm grateful that I get to walk around the Laguna Lake every morning, and I'm grateful that I'm part of the Jewish community, and I'm great, so I write all those things on the pumpkin.
So as Joan said, every morning we walk on the Juanita Cook Trail around Laguna Lake, and there's a tree where people set up a little thing to hang things you're thankful for. They do the same for Valentine's Day and everything else too, but there were probably about 50 to 100 of these things hung up this morning. It's a thankful tree.
By the lake.
There's a thankful tree. That is so beautiful. Oh, my friend Steve has something to share. Oh, that is the coolest thing. You all have to look at this thankful pumpkin. That you need a big pumpkin, though, by the way, for that. It can't just be one of those little ones.
Okay, thank you. Yesterday we celebrated with a number of cousins from Canada, some of whom we never met before. And it was really a very nice evening getting to know more of the family.
Wow.
But this morning I got an email from a newly found cousin through DNA, we're very high in the DNA thing, who lives in Ukraine. And he sent me an email. He sends them in Ukrainian, and I go to Google to translate it. And he was just to let me know he was okay. They have no electricity. They have no water. They have no heat. They're heating and cooking with wood, and with a wood fire they can find. And all I can think of is when we think about being thankful, look at us here, and think of Jews in other parts of the world that don't have what we have.
You get the last word, beautiful.
I was looking at the beginning where it says that God provides food for the hungry and brings the justice to the oppressed. And so in following up, in a sense, on Steve's, but also I'd had the thought that I hope that we carry from Thanksgiving our feelings of needing to be partners with God, to make sure that these things that are listed in here, happening for the hungry, happening for the oppressed, that we now carry our partnership forward for the rest of the year.
That's a perfect segue, Susan, into this little thing that I wanted to share. 6 rabbis had written, sort of as part of a study sheet, their thoughts on the Jewish nature of Thanksgiving. And this is by Bonnie Margul. Oh, okay, hang on. I'm going to put it back. I'm putting it back. Okay, here we go. Rabbi Bonnie says, not only is it very possible to bring Judaism into Thanksgiving, in fact, and I'm sure you've all heard this before, Thanksgiving most likely has its origins in the Jewish holiday of Sukkot. Many people do believe that when the pilgrims wanted to celebrate the fall harvest, they looked to the Hebrew Bible, as they always did, for inspiration, and took the idea of the fall harvest holiday of Sukkot as their model for the first Thanksgiving. There are many ways that we can incorporate Jewish ideals and rituals into our celebrations. First of all, it's very appropriate to say hamotzi, which we did last night at our table, and I think more and more of us are doing that. And at the beginning of the meal, and Birkat Hamazon, the blessing at the end of the meal, which is a less common custom, but no more perfect time of year to do that. Giving thanks to God for the bounty of the earth is a very Jewish thing to do, as is spending some time during the meal talking about the things that we are grateful for in our lives. Time spent with family and friends reflect the Jewish values of family and community. The pilgrims came to America in search of religious freedom, something we Jews can relate to in a very particular way. This can be the focus of conversation at Thanksgiving dinner tables. It's also a great time to focus on the Jewish value of tzedakah, as many people take time in the season to help those less fortunate by volunteering at food banks and soup kitchens, running food drives, raising funds for organizations that fight hunger and homelessness year-round. And the last thing I want to share, and if you like this, I made a copy for you. This is something to add to Birkat Hamazon, or even to say in lieu of Birkat Hamazon after your Thanksgiving meal. And this is written by Rabbi Zalman Schachter Shalomi. In the days of the Puritan pilgrims, when they arrived in the land of their haven and suffered from hunger and cold, and sang and prayed to the rock of their salvation, you, God, stood by them in their time of trouble and aroused the compassion of the native Indians who gave them food, fowl, and corn, and other delicacies. You saved them from starving and suffering, and you showed them ways of peace with inhabitants of the land. Feeling gratitude, they established, therefore, a day of thanksgiving every year for future generations to remember, and they feed the unfortunate with feasts of thanksgiving. Therefore do we also thank you for all the goodness in our lives. God of kindness, Lord of peace, we thank you. So Rabbi Schachter Shalomi's Thanksgiving prayer is a little dated and maybe not quite in concert with how we understand the relationship between the pilgrims and their Indian friends, but there definitely was much to be grateful for, and they did help us, and here we are. So I just want to say that on this Thanksgiving weekend, I am always awed about how grateful I am to be a Jewish person in this country at this time. Even with the rise in anti-Semitism and everything that's happening, even now, that there are that we have the political will and the voice and to be able to stand up for ourselves. That's new. Remember, that's new. I mean, and that people who aren't us also recognize that we're not alone, and for that I am extremely grateful, and I'm sure you are too. Over the course of the weekend, I hope you'll take time I want to make that pumpkin. I'm so inspired by your pumpkin. And you know what? You can make a gratitude pumpkin after Thanksgiving, and maybe that's what I think I'll do. I love that idea. And may this year, from yesterday until next Thanksgiving, may every day be rich in gratitude for all of us. Our service is almost over. We're going to continue with Aleinu, the beautiful rendition of Hashevota. The Hashevota, we're going to rise as the ark is open. And the Aleinu is found on page, don't tell me, 586. V'hashevota el levavecha ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim V'hashevota el levavecha ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol ha'aretz bayom hahu You may be seated. We're going to, before we say Mourner's Kaddish, we want to acknowledge the Yort sites in our community. Mike, I want to invite you to rise as you are concluding your week of Shiva. Mike is remembering his mother, Naomi Bell, Naomi Bat Shlomo Udevora, if I'm not, I think I'm right with that. And is there anybody else who's in their Shaloshim? Anybody in period of Shaloshim? Anybody on screen? Please write that in the chat. Is there anybody in their first year of mourning?
30 days.
30.
You did.
Yes. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm in the first year. I'm remembering Jonathan Gazin.
Thank you. Well, I want to invite you now, if there are Yort sites that you want to acknowledge. I want to acknowledge that tonight is the Yort site of my father's mother. Her name was Minya, and she passed away on the 2nd of Kislev in 1958. And I am her namesake, so my name is Minya. And it's, I didn't used to say Kaddish for her, but as I do now, and it's quite a privilege. So I'm remembering Minya Tziporn.
My uncle Julius Leitner, he was actually one of the ones who liberated Auschwitz in June of 1945. I found a picture of him at the museum in Washington.
Wow.
Sitting right behind General Eisenhower, and he was the only one in the group that could speak Hungarian, and there was a big Hungarian community at Auschwitz.
Yes, that's right. They were the last ones to go. I'm just.
So he was 106 months when he passed away.
Wow.
What a blessing. Oh, Lila, I have chills.
I'm just a holy relative.
Do you have a name to say in the I'm sorry. Oh. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's so remembering your uncle. Anybody else? The Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah. V'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'v'zman kari v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal Shmei Dekudesha Barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran bi'alma v'imru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabbah min Shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh Shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. So we're going to make Kiddush now. I want to invite Steve and Fran and their granddaughters up. I want you to come make Kiddush with us. Come on. And then we have a special little blessing for you afterwards.
And Kiddush
Yeah.
can be found
122.
on 122.
Yes. So while we're waiting, tell us what is the most important lesson you've learned in your 59 years of marriage, and besides the fact that Fran's always right. I mean, because that we know.
You always get the last word. Yes, dear.
Okay, you always get the. No. What is something that you learned about Steve after you got married that you were like, I had no idea he was so cool in this way?
Well, one of the things I did learn, he's very smart, very brilliant man.
Yes.
Yes, and he has like a photographic memory.
Okay.
That's not good for somebody like me. You know?
Can't get away with
He
anything.
reads something or he learns
Oh.
something, and he just remembers. Very sharp
Wow.
in his field, electrical engineering, communication.
What a great compliment. Steve, what did you learn about Fran that you didn't know when you married, but you were like, wow?
She remembers everything, and I have to be careful what I say because she's right there to correct me.
Okay, so they're a nice pair. Fran remembers everything that is said that she heard. Steve remembers everything that he read. So between the two of them, like nothing is forgotten in this marriage, and that is, and it must have been, that must have been hard to be their kids, just because you couldn't. Yeah, there you go. No, or a great privilege. So we're gonna all say Kiddush together, and then we're gonna give a blessing to you. Vayihi erev vayihi voker yom hashishi. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzevam vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asa vayishpot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi vayekadesh oto ki hivo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim lasot savri chaverai Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uv'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lemahaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'charta v'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha b'ahava uv'ratzon Hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. This wine has
That goes
seen
without saying.
has seen better days. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. Come stand between me and Gabrielle. And we, okay, and come here, granddaughters, beautiful girls. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna chant the priestly blessing, and I thought it'd be nice if you guys read it, each line in English. Okay, are you comfortable with that? I know you can. I'm just trying to find like a good.
It's also in here.
Yes, I got it right here.
It's right here in
Oh.
Mishkan.
What page?
It's on page 603.
Even better. I'm
in
still
Mishkan.
603. Now I won't forget that. I looked for it the other time. Okay. So come stand here, and okay, you'll read. You guys can put your hand there. Okay. You guys come here, and Fran, let me hold your hand. So as I chant, I'll do one line. You'll read another line. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Yaher Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Shalom. And may the two of you be blessed with good health into another wonderful decade of marriage where you shep nachas. You can do another decade. I'm not wishing. You're like, wait a minute. But where you can derive great joy in your beautiful children and your grandchildren and each other in good health. Od Yeshama biyare Yehuda uvechutzot Yerushalayim. Come over, Yod Neshama biyare Yehuda uvechutzot Yerushalayim. Kol sason v'kol simcha, kol chatan v'kol kala. Kol sason v'kol simcha, kol chatan v'kol kala. Yai dai da dai 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 da dai dai. Yai dai da dai 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 dai. Yai dai da dai 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 da dai dai. Yai dai 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 dai. We don't want a broken hip on this anniversary. That's okay. Anyway, Mazel Tov.
Mazal tov.
And as our service is coming to a close before our fabulous Kiddush that we're going to have our own egg, we have a closing song, quick announcements. Services tomorrow at 10. They're going to be awesome. And what else? Come on.
Well, in January, there's a fundraiser.
Oh, my God, that's right. Talk about it.
Oh, no. January 14th, Casino Royale fundraiser. Joan and Marion coordinating. Still sponsorships available.
It's our big event of the year, and we want everyone to participate. It's going to be really fun.
And I might sing some James Bond songs. Because Casino Royale.
No. We have another announcement. And December 10th, we have Shabbos with a scholar. So once a month, we're going to have a scholar speak after Shabbos lunch. And so December 10th, Jackie Mentor is coming to our community. She is the executive director of the Orange County Jewish Coalition for Refugees. and she's been a partner of mine for many, many years, and she's going to talk about all the incredible work that's happening. There's more and more opportunities and a greater need to build welcome circles and home teams for our new residents. And so you'll get a chance to hear from her. She has a lot of great stuff to share. And so that's happening December 10th. And then the next one is January 21st, and Deborah Prinz is coming, and she's famous because she wrote the book on chocolate. Is it Jews and chocolate? Not just chocolate. It's like Jews and Thanksgiving, Jews and chocolate. You can think of like, Jews and toilet paper, whatever. There's Jews and everything. And so, so she's going to be with a chocolate competition. It's going to be super fun, January 21st, but you have a lot to do before then, so don't get confused.
Adult education.
Adult education. Well, our history class resumes on Monday with Rabbi Daniel. Last week, Miriam launched the beginning Hebrew class, and we're going to pick it up on Tuesday. Sandra took that class, and now she's a fluent Hebrew reader, so there you go. My cousin Sandra, everybody should go meet her. She's sitting next to Scott. And then beginning Judaism, like Intro to Judaism, for people who want to learn more, it's not just an intro class, will begin in January. And the Trope class will be starting in December. And I believe that's going to be on Tuesday nights. Oh, and yes, and but this is for a long time from now. Our theater program, we just got another child, so I think there's 15 or 16 kids.
The Hilltop?
The Hilltop Players are going to perform their inaugural show right here on this Bima, February 25th and 26th. It's going to be really sweet. And I watched some rehearsals, and they're really cute. So lots of exciting things going on, and we're buzzing. And it's just going to get more buzzing. So are you ready? What's our closing melody? Oh. Oh, okay, I got confused. Page 129, everybody.
129. Ki eshmera Shabbat. Ki eshmera Shabbat. El yishmereni. Ki eshmera Shabbat. El yishmereni. Oti le'omeya. Beno uveini. Oti le'omeya. Beno uveini. Ay, 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 ay.
Shabbat Shalom. Rosh Chodesh ended like right tonight when it got dark, so belated happy Rosh Chodesh, everybody.
And thank you so much, Zoomers, for joining us. We will fade to black.